Hello everybody, this is Drew Douglas and for day 9 of WordPress for Designers on blog.themeforest.net, and today we are covering the second half of our comments discussion and template that we've been setting up, that we set up in day 8. And before we go any farther, you've probably noticed the awesome Testing WordPress Forest wallpaper, and this was sent in by a very nice Twitter user named Dennis, and I just want to say big thanks. This really gave me a good laugh, and I think it's awesome, first of all, and it's also included the rainbow-like gradient, which for those of you that have been tuning in know I'm a big fan of the rainbow gradients. So thank you, Dennis, and maybe he'll let me release this for you guys to download so everybody else can enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed having it in my background. So big thanks for that. So in day 8 we went over how to set up a WordPress comments.php file from scratch, and how to get our comment showing and our comment form working and our gravatars displaying. So some pretty cool stuff. But with the release of WordPress 2.7, the comment section got revamped, and it allows us to do a lot of cool things like comment pagination really easily, and threading comments, and nesting comments so you can reply to other users. And the WordPress 2.7 doesn't come with this functionality right out of the box. The theme has to support it. So today we're going to, from scratch again, revamp our comments.php file, and we're going to do everything we did yesterday, except this time we're going to support threading, pagination, and a few other cool things, and I'll show you how to get a theme comment ready for WordPress 2.7 and above. So with that said, let's open up our browser and Coda. And you can see here I was searching Google for how to pronounce that word, and I think it's NQ, but I don't really know. Anybody wants to correct me on that, go ahead. And we'll go over to Coda. Whoops. Okay, and this is where we left off with our comments.php file. And I know you took a long time to write it, or maybe you just downloaded it, but we're going to take it and gone. Completely gone. That hurt a little bit, but we can do better now that we have WordPress 2.7 to work with. So I'm just going to walk you guys through the code from scratch again. I'll try to explain my best as I go along, and then when the code is complete I will go through each and every step and explain more in depth of what's new in this comments template compared to the old pre-2.7 comments.php file, and then we'll check it out and see if it worked, and we'll call it a day after that. So let's get started. First we're going to do a couple security checks like we usually did, pretty similar to last time. Open up some PHP tags and we'll say if not empty server script underscore file name, and comments.php is equal to base name of server script file name. And then we'll go ahead and give it some curly brackets there, and say die, which will quit the loading of our scripts, and we'll just say, please do not load this page directly. We'll do another security type check here, except it's going to be a little more simple than it was last time that we did it. So we'll do PHP if post password required. Now we can just use if post password required, and we'll escape out of our brackets here. We could use a colon as well, but just another way to do this. Paragraph tags, and we'll just say something like this post is password protected. Open up PHP again, close off our bracket. We actually need to return here. Okay, so there's our two security checks so far, and now we can jump right into the WordPress 2.7 comments loop. So let's do that. And I'll try to comment this code here a little bit so as when you download it for yourself you can kind of see what we're doing, and we'll display the comment loop. So we'll say if have posts colon h2. I'm having some trouble typing. It's pretty early here, so please forgive me. We'll do PHP comments number, and now we can pass arguments to the comments number template tag, and depending on how many comments there are, we can display different things. So let's say be the first to comment for when there aren't any comments. When there's one comment, we'll just say one comment. When there's multiple comments, we'll say %comments. Simple enough, and we just have that between some h2 tags to let people know how many comments so far. And I believe last time we called our ordered list, what was it? Ordered list ID of comments section, I think. Yeah. Just to stay consistent here. Okay, and we'll say PHP, and here's where we're going to use a WordPress 2.7 template tag here known as WP list comments. And this is pretty cool. It's going to handle all of our comment arguments and everything for us, really, just inside a template tag. So say WP lists comments. Now we're going to pass an array to this template tag. So type array. Then we're going to pass it a few arrays. We're going to declare our avatar size like we did last time, but this is a little more different, obviously, and a little more simple if you ask me. And we'll say avatar underscore size. We'll do 80, comma. And now we're going to say reply text. And this is going to be the text that shows up now that we're going to have replies and threading enabled. So we'll say something like reply to this comment. Okay, simple enough, and there is our comment loop right there. And like I said, the new thing here is the WP list comments is a new template tag that we can use. And also you'll notice that we used if have posts instead of the comment global variable that we used in our previous comments.php section. So far we've replaced the comments variable here, with have posts, and we've introduced a new template tag called WP list comments, and we've passed it an array of arguments. One is our avatar size, and the next is what our reply text will be, since we're now going to enable threading of our comments. Okay, and the next cool thing we're going to do, and we're going to do this in one line, believe it or not, is paginate our comments. So let's say we have a crap ton of comments and we don't want to display them all on one page, want the user to be able to skip over to older or newer ones. We'll do something like this, just a basic div. Again, you could always style this however you want. PHP, we say paginate comments links. And believe it or not, that will give you some basic pagination, on your comments. This can all be, in fact, I'll show you that now. You can alter this into your settings if you go to WP admin, and if we go under settings and we go under, let's see, discussion. Yes, and you can see I've set it to break comments into pages with 3 comments per page. And that's just so I can show you the pagination when we're done with our script. But you could type, 50, 100, 25, however many comments you want to hit before you break into your pagination is where you would enable this right here under your discussion settings. So let's get right back into our code. And after this, we're going to give it an else tag. Again, I'll try to keep this somewhat commented. So we'll say else, you know, if no comments so far, something generic like that. Now we're going to run another check here, and we're going to say PHP if open is equal to post comment status. Of course, we'll give it the colon, and we'll we'll hit return here. And this is for let's say the comments are open but there are no comments. You can just say have your say. Okay, simple enough. We'll do some more PHP tags here. And we'll say else, and this would be if comments are closed. So, comments currently closed. After that, we will end one of our if statements, or in both of our if statements actually. And I'll bump one of these in so we can kind of keep track of what we're doing here. Okay, looking good so far. Let's scroll down and let's say PHP if open, and again post comment status, then we're going to do something. So we can show the form here is pretty much what we're doing. So we'll scroll down and we'll say div ID respond. Okay, and you'll notice we didn't have that div before, and this is another one of those things that we need to have in here for our comments to be threaded and replies to be able to show up. We have to wrap our entire comment form in a div ID of respond, and this is because the JavaScript that WordPress is going to use to help us out with threading is expecting that ID of respond to wrap around the whole comment form. So don't miss that part. And now we'll just do the title, like leave a reply, and this is kind of cool. You can just do PHP comment form title, and we'll just leave that to the default right now, which prints out leave a reply, I believe. Okay, next we need to add a div and some PHP to have the cancel reply link show up. So this would be if somebody clicked on reply to this comment and then they decided, you know what, I don't want to reply to this comment anymore, I just want to post my own individual comment. So we'll give it a div ID of cancel comment reply. Close out our div, and just small tags is what the codex uses, so that's what we'll use. And inside of the small tags, we'll just say PHP cancel comment reply. Oops, I'm sorry, cancel comment reply link. Okay, and that is what will give us the cancel this reply and cancel the text box that will show up when they're trying to reply. Okay, and now still inside of our div ID of respond, we're going to say PHP if, now we're going to say if get option, and inside of get option we're going to say comment registration and the variable user ID does not exist. we'll do an if colon, and we'll say, try to keep this organized here, you must be logged into comment. Okay, and then we'll say PHP else. And now obviously we can display the actual form, because now we know that we've already displayed the you must be logged into comment part, because the comment registration is obviously set. So now we're going to go ahead and display our form action in the beginning of our form. So this will be the same as last time. Say form action equals PHP echo get option site URL and we'll do WP content. Oh, I'm sorry. We want to do WP comments post .php, which is the file that handles our comments that we submit. And now we'll do a method of post and an ID of comment form. Okay. Now we'll scroll down and we'll give another PHP if, and now we're going to check to see if the user is logged in. Like you'll remember that we discussed last time, if the admin is logged in, like if I'm logged in as the administrator, obviously I don't need to fill out my name and my email and my website, because WordPress already knows all of this information. So all that needs to be displayed is the text area. So we'll say if user ID, and then we'll tell them that they're logged in. You know, we'll say logged in as href PHP. We'll say echo get option site URL and then we'll say, after this we'll say WP admin / profile.php, close that off, and inside of that we'll say PHP echo user identity. Close off our anchor tag, and that'll be good for now. So pretty much inform the user, the administrator, that they're logged in and who they're obviously logged in as. And now we're going to say, if they're not logged in, we're going to display the input fields like normal. So we'll say PHP else. We'll go over and this is where we'll do all of our inputs again. I'll go ahead and end the if for that. And instead of typing all of this, we can go ahead and save. And I'm going to go into my old comments that I have saved and just copy the name, the mail, and the website from here, because it's all the same information. And I'll go back into that. Okay. So underneath our else, we will display our basic input tags. Okay, and we will end our if. And here's another next important step for our WordPress 2.7 enabled comments. Just start a basic div, and inside of that we're going to say PHP comment ID fields. And this is going to tell WordPress where our comment ID fields are located, and let them know, and let WordPress know of the ID fields, and how to thread the comments that are going to be displayed. But just remember, if you're wanting to thread comments, comment ID field is something that has to be displayed inside the form, like we just did. And now we're also going to add a new hidden input type. You can just follow along here. Input type equals hidden. Name equals redirect to. Value equals PHP echo comment. Oops, I'm sorry. No comment. We're going to do PHP echo HTML special characters, which is CHARS. Server, there should be an underscore there. Request URI. Okay. And now we'll close off our input type, and that is that. Moving right along, we'll go ahead and save now and close out the old comments. Underneath that div, we're going to go ahead and add our text area. It's important now that our text area has an ID of comment. This is also one of the many things that we've gone over that that WordPress needs and able to thread the comments correctly. So ID, comment, name, comment, and I apologize if I'm typing a little slow here. I'm trying to read off of some of my notes, as I obviously don't have all of this memorized. I believe it was 50 that we had. Rows was 10. Okay, close off our text area, and that looks good. Okay, one last check we're going to give here. After our text ID area, remember how in day 8 we wanted to display to the user if they've posted a comment that comment moderation is enabled, and that we've got your comment, but it's under moderation currently, so there's no need to post again and check. So we can just use a quick if statement for this. Okay, we'll say PHP if get option comment moderation equal to 1. Then we'll do something. We'll use the brackets here. I guess I've been using colons this whole time. Sorry about that, but I'm just using the bracket syntax for this, since we're just going to display a small message. I know someone's going to jump on me for mixing the brackets and the colons. I apologize. And we'll just say comment moderation is enabled. No need to resubmit any comments posted. Something simple like that, just to let them know that we've got it. It's just under moderation. And we are almost done. Let's continue on after our last check there. Let's do another paragraph here. Now we need our submit button. We can just do input type equals text, name equals submit, ID equals submit, and value equals submit. Very simple stuff. And you will remember, lastly, the thing that fires all of this off: PHP do underscore action. First one will say comment form, comment underscore form, comma, and we'll say post ID. Okay, and we'll come down here. End our form. Need to end our if statements now. And after the div, we have one more if to end. think that's correct. Okay, so before we walk through this, there's still one more thing we need to do. And that's because WordPress 2.7 uses the help of JavaScript to make the replying and the threading of the comments a little more user-friendly. Like for instance, when we click on reply to this comment, the text area box where they type is actually going to show up right underneath that user's comment, not at the bottom. So that way they can be looking at the comment they're replying to while typing their reply. So we need to call a JavaScript file here. And what we need to do is go into header.php, and first we need to add a little WP head hook here. And that's going to let plugins and other functions know that this is the header of our theme file. And now right above that, we are just going to say, do a little if statement. We'll say PHP, then if is singular, and we can do this all in one line here. WP enqueue script comment reply. And if you're wondering why I didn't use any curly braces, that's just PHP shorthand. You could just do something like this if that makes you more comfortable. It's just as easy. So if this is a singular page, then we're going to add the comment reply script, which is a WordPress script, JavaScript file, to the header. That's pretty much what we're doing, is we're calling the JavaScript file that we need if it's a singular article with comments. Okay, so I guess let's go ahead and see if that worked. Oh yeah, another thing. You're going to want to go into your settings, your discussion settings, before you try this out. And you're going to want to enable threaded or nested comments and how many levels deep you want. I've set it to 3. And then go ahead and set break comments into pages with something really low so you can see that your comment pagination is working. And we'll just go to our site. And we'll go to Patty Mayonnaise story, and awesome, it worked just as we expected it to. You can see reply to this comment, reply to this comment. Our pagination is showing up, pretty cool. You can see I had in 3 comments per page. So if I click 1, we'll come back over here and we'll see that the first comments. So yeah, let's test it out, and we'll just reply to this comment and say, hey, isn't this cool? Okay, awesome. And you can see WordPress threaded it. It's not the prettiest thing ever. The total comments amount has been updated. You can see leave a reply is showing up just as we expected it to. So before we go over the code, I want to give you the best source you can find for WordPress 2.7 comments and threading is definitely this page on the Codex, which I'll link to below. And it pretty much goes through all of the code that we just went through, minus a lot of the markup, and explains what's new in WordPress 2.7 compared to the old comments loop. So I really recommend you check out this link. It says this article is heavily based on Otto's excellent WordPress 2.7 comments enhancement post, which is another really nice article by a guy named Otto that is a WordPress moderator on the forums as well. So I encourage you guys to check out these links that are also provided at the bottom, as the Codex is really your first place to look for any problems or any questions that you have. So to finish off the day, let's just kind of walk over our comments.php file and review what we've done. At the top here, we've run a few security checks, if the post is, if the password's required, or if they tried to load the page directly. Next, we went through our new WordPress 2.7 comments loop. We're no longer using the global comments variable. We're using the have posts function. We're going through our loop with WP list comments. We're using an array to pass it multiple arguments. Our reply text is reply to this comment. We used PHP comments number to, display different things like be the first to comment or one comment or how many comments there are. We used PHP paginate links underneath our inside of our loop and underneath our actual comments to paginate our comments, and we changed that in the settings to 3. Next, we said, if the comments were open, but there was none of them so far, we had a little display message, or if they were closed, a display message. And then we moved on to the form. So what was new in the form was the div ID of respond. Remember that all the forms now that are going to be WordPress 2.7 threaded comment compatible need to have the entire comment form wrapped in a div ID of respond. A few other things that we did differently here. A different kind of input hidden field here. And remember that we need to have the PHP comment ID fields here in order for the threaded comments to display properly. And lastly, we kicked it all off with do action comment form post ID. So don't forget to go to your header either and add WP head right above the ending closing head tag. And then above that we wrote if this is a singular article, that we're going to include the comment reply script that is needed for threading and replying our comments. And I really shouldn't say needed. It'll still work without JavaScript enabled, but it makes it more user friendly. Let me show you what I'm talking about again. Let's go to a different post here. If we scroll down and we click reply to this comment, you see how the text area box, it's hard to see since there's not that many, but it actually changed and went directly below here instead of where its usual position would have been a little farther down. And then of course we can say click here to cancel reply, and we cancel it, and it kind of goes back to its regular form. And if I was replying to a comment, say way up here and there was more, and I clicked reply, it would be a lot more useful. But you can see how cool the WordPress 2.7 comment package was. So I think that is where we will leave off for today. If you guys have any questions about this, or if there's something that wasn't very clear to you, make sure you let me know. Otherwise, I will see you for day 10. I think we will move into the PSD in day 10. I'm going to be talking with Jeffrey more about that very shortly, but I know a lot of you are excited to get to that. So we still have plenty of more series to go. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. And as always, I encourage you to subscribe to the ThemeForest RSS feed. If you're enjoying the series, it really helps us out, and it would really be a big favor to us if you could subscribe. So I will catch you guys for day 10. Thank you again to Dennis for the awesome wallpaper, and happy WordPress coding, and have a great day, guys.